Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today is another day, another update for the Aircraft and Avionics Update beta. So, we are looking at a brand new version of the 787 and 747, and once again we are seeing loads and loads of great new features. Now, in the last couple of videos, there have been quite a couple of people who skipped forward and then missed stuff like what software I'm using, so if you're interested in that, just stay tuned for the first 2 minutes or something. But first of all, I really need to apologize to all my British friends for not speaking the King's English today, as we are flying British Airways from London Heathrow towards Chicago O'Hare Airport. Heathrow by Anyboats, O'Hare by FS Dream Team. So, apart from that, let's have a quick look into what is actually new. I do need to add that I have added the FTSIM Plus sound pack for the Trent 1000 engines into the 787, as that is what we fitted over here. Apart from that, I'm not using any other mods with my 787. For the flight plan, I'm using SimToolkit Pro, and that's pretty much going to be it. But let's start by having a quick look into the changelog that we have available, and we can see that there has been some changes to the checklist once more. There is more autocomplete items and stuff like that. VNAV added ability to reset MCP altitude to misapproach altitude and continue descent to VNAV path, so that's really something when you are flying non-precision approaches there. Apart from that, pressurization system has been quite well added, to be honest. And some changes for the 747 as well, but if we go forward we can see loads of changes over here, and I'm not even gonna go over all of them because it would simply be too boring for you guys. So what we're gonna do, we'll step into the 787, we fly it from London to Chicago, and then see what things look like. So this is the change list that we really have for this airplane. As we can see, it is really huge. So let's step straight away into our cockpit, and this is a real-life 787-10 flight that we are gonna do today. So, battery coming on, external power coming on, and then I'm just about going to fly the airplane like I always do, and I will point out changes as I notice them. Alright, starting straight ahead into the FMC, how about we get you guys the flight plan as well. Just like last time, I'm going to accelerate this one a little bit, because I'm sure that you don't want to see the tenth of hundreds of millions of flight plan setups over here. So we'll just about go straight into the setup, like this. So that is the change over there, that the cruise CG now actually fills out automatically, so we're getting an invalid entry when we try to change that. Alright, and here we go, the flight plan setup is complete, so let's go ahead and do the remainder of the cockpit pre-flight procedures. You know the drill by now, so once again, let's just go over it real quick over here, and I'm not going to comment too much. This is new, that the window heat switches are now operable one by one, and note how the primary hydraulic pumps are now turned on by default as well. Refueling is, or should be completed, as we can see, so for that reason we can turn the passenger signs on. And going further over here, we don't need to turn anything on, we can put the anti-ices to auto. And what is new in this version as well is that now we have the pressurization system modeled. So, as you can see, we can go to manual and to automatic, for example, on the land out. So we got to make sure that the switch is actually in the in position. Apart from that, let's continue on with our systems setup. So 168 V2, then we can go to traffic on the displays. We can turn on the airports now, because another new feature that we have with this version is that the airports are filtered now. So that means that we are going to get an filtered airport view, which basically means that we are only going to get airports with a runway of 2,000 meters or more. Did I just say airports are filtered, so that means we get a filtered airport view? Well, you guys can see how much I'm investing into getting my type rating done, so I do apologize for that. That's interesting over here that we still get... Look at that, how the auto brake RTO is missing, and only when we recall it, it actually comes back. That's interesting behavior. As far as I'm aware, that should not be the case, so when you have messages over here, and you clear them out, it should basically not go to a page 2 like this, but default to showing all the white messages like this. At least that's my system understanding. It's been a little while since I dealt with this kind of stuff, and that was in the 777 beta, so for that reason, things might be a little bit different. And no, I did not just say that the 777 beta has begun, because I am actually talking about the 777 beta back in P3D over here. Just in order to avoid any doubts over there. Okay, some random squawk, and that's gonna be it. Okay, so, we're still gonna wait 5 minutes for the IRSs to align, and that time we might as well start with the departure briefing. So, threats we have for the departure honestly aren't too many. We don't know about the aircraft shape. That is probably the most important thing I would like to mention. In other words, when we fly, we might see something that we are not expecting, and for that reason we're going to take things slow. If there's anything, then we'll just stop and decide. So, but that is pretty much what I say in every flight anyway. Okay, then let's continue ahead. We're parking on stand 545 over here in London Heathrow. Let's get out some charts to have a look at what exactly all that stuff looks like. Here we are. So, 545 over here, pushback with the nose to the south, and then we're going to taxi via Charlie, Alpha, and looking at the taxi chart over here, it's going to be Charlie, Alpha, and then we can basically go from November 8, we have sufficient runway and performance available. Looking at the takeoff data itself, we're going to do a reduced takeoff 1, 35 degrees assumed temperature, and we have a flap 5 takeoff with 6.75 units of trim. We still gotta set those later on. And the takeoff speed is 157, 161, 168, which is set up here. In case of any emergencies, we go straight ahead 25 miles. The MSA in the London area is just about 2,100 feet, so there is nothing we need to be concerned about in regards to the MSA. Then looking into our departure, let's get up the charts once more, and looking into our departure, we have the ULTIP 1 Juliet departure, runway 09 right, and that is on chart 10-3 Mike, effective 7th of October. When instructed, contact control after takeoff, report call sign, SID designator, current and cleared altitude. The rest of that stuff really not that important. Speed 250 knots below 100 unless otherwise assigned, and we have 250 below 100 over here. And then, warning, due to interaction with other routes, do not climb above 6,000 unless cleared by ATC, and we have 6,000 pre-selected up here. So, looking into the routing itself then, we climb straight at 2 DME from London VOR, and that's going to be the Bravo point over here. And then for left turn 050 to intercept radio 071 outbound London, and then here we got 071, and we fly until 10 DME. Juliet is the 10th letter in the alphabet, so for that reason we're going to fly that until the Juliet point, and we cross that between 3 and 6,000. So in here we've got 3,000 above. I suppose the FMC is not able to do between constraints, but we're going to see on the arrival. In the US they have lots of them, so we'll see about it. So Juliet point, 3,000 above, and then we got Flutter 60 in here by ULTIP, so for that reason it is limited at a top of 60 over here as well. From there on, make a left turn onto radial 330 outbound Big N VOR, cross 20 DME between 5 and 6,000, and that 330, 5,000 or above. Then we continue to ULTIP at 6,000, which we have over here. So that's our setup. Conventional backup, we can tune that real quick. We'll take a London VOR active in number 1 with the course 071, but we're unable to select that over here, so that is grayed out. And then we'll take Big N VOR on number 2 which we can then use for the outbound radial over here, so that we have a complete conventional backup. I do sincerely hope that we are not going to need it, but we have it available in case we actually need to. Fun fact in the meantime, while we're waiting for that IRS to align, a little fun fact over here. In the command upgrade training in my former airline, you would actually get to fly a hugely complicated SID. And they make you think you're going to fly it in RNAV, so using the FMS, but then just after liftoff, they're going to kill your RNAV capability, and all of a sudden you're going to fly raw data, so that's making things really interesting. Okay, in the meantime, the IRS is almost aligned, so we can pretty much go ahead and have a look into the checklist. Interesting to see over here, they changed the checklist once more, but for some reason that is still not the standard Boeing checklist that I found in the QRH. Let's have a look at a couple of the different ones over here. So that's changed, for example, over here. This is now the Boeing checklist. For taxi, that looks good as well, so they did do some changes there. As we can see over here, looking into all the different charts, that is mostly Boeing standard. Just the pre-flight checklist looks a little bit non-standard to me. But nonetheless, we can take it from here. And we also have an aligned IRS now, so we can quickly use the plan mode to confirm that our routing is actually entirely correct. And I'm just going to skip through it real quick, because this actually looks exactly like the chart. So that's just perfect. Okay, so we are pretty much done with the part of the setup over here, and then we can go ahead and read our checklist. So, pre-flight checks, park and brake, yes, set, and fuel control switches, cut off. Pre-flight checklist complete. So let's go ahead, start up the APU, and then we'll quickly say hello to the passengers before we start our pushback. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon from FlightTech. This is your captain speaking. My name is Emmanuel Hagen, and in the name of British Airways, I would like to welcome you aboard Flight 195, taking you to Chicago. Flight time today calculated at approximately 8 hours and a few minutes at an initial altitude of 36,000 feet, later on climbing to 38,000 feet. Now we're going to get back to you in cruise with the latest details regarding our route, which you have probably seen on the screens in front of you anyway by now. In the meantime, sit back, relax, enjoy the flight with us. If there's anything we can do for you to make it more comfortable, please don't hesitate to ask any of our cabin crew. And if there is anything we can do for you to make it more enjoyable, then there is one thing I'd certainly like to point out, and that is, please pay your full attention to the cabin crew safety demonstration, as that is not just for your own safety, but also for the safety of the passengers sitting around you. Thank you for your attention. Once again, welcome aboard this Boeing 787. Okay, so the APU should be available by now, and indeed it is. We got the APU running over here, and on the electrical page we can see it's feeding the system as well. So let's go ahead and get our GSX pushback and see how that is going to progress. In the meantime, handling by British Airways, please. Let's take a quick look outside. And here we go. They are slowly, very slowly, but steadily getting us there. So, cockpit to ground. Hey, go ahead, please. So, please confirm, can we pressurize the hydraulic system? Yes, sir, you can pressurize the hydraulics.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Oh, that's a British accent there. I love it. Okay, let's go ahead. So, we need LNAV and VNAV for our departure, and then we got a take a trim setting here of 6.75. Let's get that in.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Cabin crew, all doors in flight. Okay, looks like the checklist is still not automatically switching. After the checklist complete is shown, it should automatically go to the next one. But that doesn't really matter, so we're gonna do it ourselves. So before start checklist, passenger signs, are on, MCP, V2 168, heading 090, altitude 6000. Takeoff speeds, V1 157, VR 161, V2 168, and they're checked on the display as well. Okay, CDU pre-flight, completed, trim, 6.75 units set, and 0 on the rudder. Taxi and takeoff briefing completed, beacon, on before start checklist complete. Okay, quick look at the navigation display. We've got to push with the nose to the left-hand side. And then we can bring up our systems, and we are good to go. So, GSX, continue pushback, and please give me nose left.
Locking gear.
Right then, ready to go any moment. We're not flying this online, I'm taking this one offline. So we don't need to worry about any VATSIM or other traffic. Somebody's asked me recently why I do not use any third-party traffic add-ons. And that is primarily because I want to keep my airports decluttered so that on VATSIM we can take any gate assigned. Right, so we should be ready to go. Now, I just missed the last call from GSX. It probably said release park and brake, so I'm just about going to give it a try. See what happens.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Alright, that's what I wanted to hear. It's still a very interesting place for the ramp agent to walk down there, isn't it? Like, beneath the engines, what happens if he falls and the pushback driver doesn't see him? Then he's just about going to overrun him. Okay, certainly for us, looks like we are ready to go. Clear on the left, we are beyond the line, that means we can start up our engines. I'm just going to delay the engine start slightly, because we can start both at the same time in here, as you've already seen. And that means that otherwise we're just, you know, standing around with the engines running all the time, and that is really a little waste of time, isn't it? And a waste of fuel, that's for sure. Okay, approaching the line, I would say that's a good moment to start our engines. So, starting both engines. Give me my timing, please. And here we go, auto start is in progress.
Parking brakes.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
And here we go, 2 good starts. Now TPR is still at 0. I wonder if that is correct. Let me just about move them a little bit. Okay, they are moving. That probably is correct. If I'm totally honest with you, with the TPR number that we have in the 787, I'm not 100% familiar with that. It is not part of standard ATPL training just yet. But all kind of aircraft manufacturers are developing all kind of different systems there, so I suppose we just about take it from here, and we might do it in a dedicated video in the future. In any case, the guys are done now there, so APU off, anti-ice auto, flaps 5, and then we can go ahead with the flight control track. Full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, and the rudders. Full left, full right, and neutral. Recall. That's fixed. Very nice. Previously, you couldn't do the recall like this, but it is working fine now. Very good. Okay, so engine display gone, navigation display we need, and then we can do the after start checklist, or the before taxi checklist. Anti-ice, auto, recall, checked, auto brakes, RTO, flight controls, checked, ground equipment, clear, APU is cooling down. Before taxi checklist complete. Okay, we're clear on the right, we are clear on the left. Quickly get rid of that GSX display over here, and then we can go. Look at that, the plane is actually slightly creeping forward without using any thrust. Can you see that? Okay, now let's use some thrust and get it to roll for real. So taxi as briefed, straight ahead, and then to the right hand side to the end. I have a feeling that they did something about the taxi model as well. Looking at the speed here, it is controllable in a much nicer manner. Now I'm really looking forward to what it's going to look like when we go into a turn, to see if the plane is actually going to react correctly there and not lose so much speed as it did before. But for now this looks quite good. The right is clear and the left is clear. We're doing 15 knots over here, the maximum that you should do on an apron. Then slow it down to 10 for the turn. Fairly short taxi, so we're clear of the apron. Let's go ahead with the takeoff review. It's a left seat takeoff on runway 09 right, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure number 2, and we're going to accelerate at 1500 feet. The takeoff speeds are 157, 161, 168, and those are all selected. And for the SID, we go straight ahead, 2 miles from London VOR, then a left-hand turn, intercept the radial 071, and that's all in the magic box. In case of emergency, we can go straight ahead, 25 miles, climb at 3000 feet, the MSA is 2100 feet. Any questions? No? Very good. Okay, let's do the before takeoff checklist. And this is interesting. In the changelog there was something that the checklist should be able to automatically determine if the or to automatically determine some of the items. For example, in the previous, the auto brake should have been in there, and the flaps in the before takeoff checklist should have been there automatically as well. But looks like that is not working correctly yet, so we can manually confirm 5 is selected, 5 is indicated, and that's the before takeoff checklist complete. So if you're wondering, in the real 787, the before takeoff checklist would pretty much go like this. You press the button, it automatically confirms the correct flap setting, and then automatically goes green. And then basically the crew just says, before takeoff checklist complete. Quite similar to the ECAM challenge in the Airbuses. But that's just a little bit of excursions there. Okay. We are cleared for takeoff, runway 09 right. Cabin crew, please take your seats for departure. Thunder goes on, the lights go on, and that's it. Weather radar, I suppose we can take as well. Not that it would make that much of a difference. Train display, we can take it as well, just see if it's still got that unrealistic strong red color when you go airborne, like Microsoft has it in their default displays. I surely hope they removed that, however, I am afraid they have probably not. But we'll see. In any case, are you ready to go? Then we go. Timing Stabilized. Takeoff thrust. Thrust set. 80 knots. Look at how the tail strike line just came in view at 80 knots. That is correct behavior there. They fixed that. B1, rotate. Europe, positive rate. And look at that terrain display on the right there. That is what I meant. That shouldn't happen. Okay, autopilot on. That is mostly what we are checking over here, that all the systems are doing what they're supposed to do. And 1500 feet, accelerating. What's new as well is the thrust levels have really changed there, so have a good look at our rate of climb and our acceleration performance. So, flaps 1. You can see we're not shooting skywards with like 4,000 feet a minute as we used to do in some earlier versions. And flaps up. Check, flaps up. So let's see now that we're at 250 knots, what rate of climb are we gonna get? Keep in mind, slightly above the speed now, that's why we're getting a slightly larger rate of climb there. 15 degrees, we don't need anti-ice as we're going through the clouds. So look at that, we're getting roughly 3,000 feet a minute. That looks like a decent rate of climb to me. So looks like they have actually taken care of that. Okay, we're gonna go up much higher. Let's say we are getting an unrestricted climb as well, so I'm going to remove the VNAV constraints over here. That, by the way, still has some incorrect behavior there. It should not only remove the below limits, but also the above limits. So every click on the altitude interval should remove the next constraint, provided it is below the MCP selected altitude. But doesn't matter too much. Also, the takeoff page should transition automatically into the climb page. That is a Boeing option. However, the vast majority of airlines have that. So I tend to say that we can sort of expect that to happen. Okay, set standard, passing 6-4, climbing much higher after takeoff checklist. Landing gear, up, flaps, up, after takeoff checklist, complete. So, getting roughly 3,600 feet a minute there. Let's see. If I'm just about going to increase that, give me full climb thrust. Let's see what we're gonna get. I just want to experiment a little bit with it, to see how much power the aircraft got now that they changed the engine thrust ratings. Nice to see as well, by the way, we are currently overshooting the initial planned turn over here. However, that is due to the speed of our aircraft, so it just wouldn't be able to make that turn, but we can see we've got a nice connection of the line over here. And that is something that, for example, the PMDG should be doing, but isn't at the moment. So the PMDG would just have given you a discontinuity. This one actually gives you the overshoot and draws the re-interception line correctly there, which is what Boeing aircraft would do. Right, passing 10,000, let's go lights off. And that certainly looks smooth outside to me, so seatbelt signs off. And with that, I would say sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride over to Chicago. So just another quick comment here. Looking at the displays, let's quickly give our colleague both traffic and airports. Now look at that. The airport, or the map, is really decluttered over here in that we don't have all those airports in which have a runway less than 2,000 meters. So we can really see only those airports now which are really relevant to us. That is something very nicely done that they did it with this update. So now the airport map is actually usable, contrary to before where it showed every so small airport that it was just, you know, a little bit unusable. But good to see that changed with this update as well. So now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the trip to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago, everyone. Passing 10,000 feet here, just about to turn downwind. We can see our airport over there, and we can actually see our landing runway down there as well already, which is going to be 10 center today. You've seen the setup as we came in, and apart from that, over here is our terminal and where we're going to park. So that is pretty much our approach briefing completed. We are turning for a right downwind, and we will eventually turn this one to final manually. Now, quick word here on what is actually happening, just to explain you our plan for the arrival. I programmed the downwind, and we've got Fosmo there at 4,000 feet, which is probably going to be quite a bit further out than we actually want to fly. So in order to explore the performance of this plane a little bit better, let's go ahead and go to level change, 250 knots. And like that, we're going to bring the plane down ourselves. Also, I want to give the speed brake another try here. For that reason, I'm taking it in a little bit too high. And while we're talking about the entire topic over here, just a very quick word about our altitude constraints. You can see I was able to enter 4,000 feet over here at Possum, but if you look at this, we've got a barrier above 9,000 restriction over here, so this should basically be impossible. You should not be able to enter any altitude restriction below any subsequent altitude restriction that is not part of a missed approach. But that much just about it. Wanted to give that a quick try. So in idle, we're descending at a nice 1800 feet a minute stabilized over here. Let's get a little bit of speed brake and see what is going to happen. Previously, the speed brake was super effective, but according to the changelog, they actually changed some of the performance figures to match the real airplane better. And if I'm looking at this, This is now half speed brake. Previously we got like 10 degrees nose down and 6,000 feet a minute from this. But if we're checking this now, let's go full speed brake, see what the airplane is gonna do. We are getting a nice, yeah, 4,000 feet a minute, just about, a little bit less. So that is quite good actually. The speed brake performance seems accurate to me now. Obviously I haven't flown a real Boeing 787, but nonetheless this does look about right to me. I know that the 737 has rather weak speed brakes, so it does make sense that other aircraft are a lot stronger. Let's go ahead and start our deceleration. At the same time, we can also go ahead and read the approach checklist, which is going to be altimeters 2997 approach checklist completed. Right then, I would say we're about at a good altitude to start our base turn, so let's pre-select our heading, and then we can hit heading select. This may be something, by the way, for a future update as well. Removing the ability to change the bank angle selector with the mouse, but just make it left and right click instead of making it scrolling. Okay, flap 1. Speed checked. So the glide slope is slowly coming alive, as we can see over here. Might be descending a little bit quick right now. Let's start getting our speed back towards the flap 1 speed. And then we can quickly tidy up our flight plan. And let's take Ray as the inbound point. Like this, Ray inbound. Execute, and that tidies up our plan. Okay, nicely approaching the glide slope over there, about 2 miles out. Let's turn base. Something like 070 should be a good intercept heading there. And back to auto, so we're on the glide now. Approach mode armed. Let's see how that's going to perform. Then let's go flap 5, so that we can start reducing our airspeed a little bit further, and basically fly ourselves nicely into the glide slope like that. Localizer should come alive any moment. Here it is, localizer capture, glide slope capture. 4,000 feet for the missed approach is set. Okay, 8 miles out, flaps 10. Looking to get the speed down a little bit further. Certainly seems a little bit turbulent at the moment. But that is kind of what I've seen over the last couple of days in the US, regardless of which airplane I've actually been flying. I might use a little bit of speed brake here. This is getting a bit too much for my taste. But let's get the speed brake out, see what's gonna happen. And flap 15. Then we're about 8 miles out. The speed brakes are going back up, and we can go gear down. Flaps 20. And finally, flap 30. We go. Okay, landing checklist. Speed brake, armed, landing gear, down, flaps 30. Landing checklist complete. Okay, so the ground effect has been significantly reworked for this update, so I am looking forward to see what the manual landing is going to be like. But at first, autopilot disconnect. Let's take it manual and see how the airplane flies with the recent update. I'm going to keep the auto throttle engaged for this one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take the auto throttle out.
1,000.
And the reason I'm taking this out is just because I want to be 100% sure that I have full control over my airplane in the flare, because I don't know how the auto throttle is going to perform in here, and I really want full control to see how the ground effect is going to work, and for that reason let's just about go manual thrust as well. So, according to the changelog, they significantly reworked both the flight model to match the QRH performance numbers better, and the ground effect, so the flight model certainly feels alright at the moment. Hard to say for me what would be good and what not, but it certainly feels alright. Even though it is at times really hard to maintain the glide slope here when you gain just a couple knots of speed, if you know what I mean. Okay, continue. We are a little bit fast, but still within limits.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Tiny flare. Okay, and we're down. And I would say that was definitely better than the previous versions. My landing was still a bit positive, but that's probably down to me and not on the airplane. Okay, 80 knots. You can get rid of the reverse, manual braking. $55 knots or less. Let's take the exit, and then I can say welcome to Chicago. So let's take the airplane onto the parallel taxiway here. And once we're on that, we can start doing the housekeeping and cleaning our airplane up. We are. Okay, we got a little bit of taxiing yet, so our terminal is just about over there, which we are going to go to, so we'll take the next taxiway to the left across the runway 10 left, and then we are almost at the gates. There is no after-landing procedure in this, so, or rather no after-landing checklist, I should say. Obviously there is a procedure, so next up is going to be the shutdown checklist already. We're clear on the left, clear on the right, clear across 10 left. Still clear, obviously. Okay, job let off, APU on. Okay, next to the right brings us to the international terminal here. Look at that, I'm going a rather tight turn and my speed stays more or less constant, so that seems to be improved as well. Let's take a really sharp turn here. I'm just about giving full tilt out to the right. Okay, this still costs us a little bit of speed there, probably a bit too much for my taste, but I would say it is certainly better taxable, to call it that way. And this has nothing to do with our beloved tax offices. Overall, it feels fine. So we can see that there have really been some good improvements there. Okay, lights off. Here we go, Mike 11. Like this. Just gotta taxi far forward enough. And I would say this looks about good. Stop the plane. Park brake set. The APU is running. Engines running down. Transponder off. And then we've got 20%. Shutdown checklist, please. Hydraulic panel. Set. Fuel pumps. Off. Flaps up. Park and brake. Set. Fuel control switches. Cut off. Shutdown checklist complete. And that's it. Welcome to Chicago, everyone. I do surely hope that you have enjoyed this flight. If you did, then do let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much for flying. And finally, what is my impression on this update? Well, they have once again made some very good progress. We are seeing less and less bugs. The airplane is feeling better and better and more flyable. And certainly that is all that we can ask for over here. Overall, for a default airplane, very, very good. And even for an add-on aircraft, I would absolutely be happy to buy this for some 20 or 30 bucks or so. Alright, so, good improvements with this update. I'm really looking forward to see what the final version is going to look like, but I'm certainly going to do some more flights with this. In the meantime, thank you for watching. As always, if you like what I'm doing, then like, comment and subscribe. And if you really like what I'm doing, I would love to see you as a channel member, which is going to give you exclusive early access to new videos before they're released for everyone else. And if you don't want to join, you can always make a one-time donation using the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again, hopefully very soon.